Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sandy Anastasi, and I want to welcome you to my Psychic Hour. I'm just so excited this evening. I'm looking over the names of people that are on with us this evening, and I'm just seeing a whole lot of new people here this evening. So if you are new to my Psychic Hour, I want to welcome you with open arms and tell you I'm really grateful that you've discovered me. And all those people who I also recognize who've been following me maybe for the last 4 years or so, I want to say thank you very much for coming back and being here again this evening with me. I love doing these psychic hours. They're just so much fun. It seems that every time I connect in with my guides and work with you folks during these psychic hours, we seem to come up with so many interesting concepts and ideas. For those people who are new, in just a few minutes, I'm going to be giving the hi sign to my assistant Lisa, who's in the chat room. And if you have a question you'd like to ask, and I see some of you already know this, you can come in and just hit the hand button, and your hand will go up, and so Lisa will see that. And Lisa will be calling on people who have a question for me and would like me to answer it here online. Now, an interesting thing happens when you ask a question. I'm connecting with my guides. My guides are talking to yours, but they're also talking to everybody else's guides who are on the call with us. So even though I might be answering a question that you're asking, my guides have a way of answering the questions for half the other people on the call at the same time they're answering you. So folks, even if I'm not answering your specific question, please listen to what comes through, because you're just going to be amazed that so much of it is pertinent to what's going on in your life right now too. And that, don't ask me how they do it, that's just how it works. Also, for those of you who are new, you're going to see this chart that I have here, this astrology chart, that's what we call that on the PowerPoint. This is called a horary chart. I cast that for every psychic hour. It's always cast for 9 p.m. my local time. And what we do with a horary chart, you see, is that it tells the answers to all of the questions for all of the people who are on the call with me this evening. It's really pretty interesting. This is a form of astrology that I've used for a long time, and it's a one-time chart. After tonight's done, it gets thrown away. It's only good for this evening, your questions, your presence here tonight. And you guys are going to be pretty amazed if you haven't seen this before of how wonderfully astrology works for this type of situation. Okay, that said, if you're too shy to raise your hand, you can also type your question into the chat room, and Lisa, if she chooses to call on you, will either read that question off for you, or a lot of times Lisa can answer that question herself. She does that sometimes. And certainly if she sees a lot of people asking the same question, she's going to be sure to tell me about that one. Okay? Now, we have some basic rules for how we handle these. I'll call on as many people as I can, and usually that's maybe between 8 and 10 people during this hour. But remember, your questions are going to get answered in context with everybody else's questions. And I also give you a promise that if you are physically present here on the call and I didn't answer your question because you didn't put your hand up or whatever, but you didn't have a chance to be called on, you, within the next 24 hours until 9 o'clock tomorrow night, you will have the chance to ask that one question of me, and I will answer it. It may not be within 24 hours, but it will be as soon as I can get to it. So you can ask me that question via email. And there's an email right here on GoToWebinar that I will get if you send that to me, or you can send it through Lisa. Either way works. So everybody who doesn't get their answer tonight has the opportunity to still ask their question as long as you are here physically present on the call. Basically, it's simple. From my perspective, you took time out of your busy life to be here with me this evening on the call. So I will take time out of my busy life to answer that one question. Okay? It's a reciprocative action, and I love doing it for you. So here we go. I've got my chart up here, my horary chart. I've got my cards. I do have a couple of quick announcements I want to make before we get started. My guides just reminded me of that, unless maybe that was Lisa pinging me. She does that too. First off, immediately on your calendars, you should be writing down that the next psychic hour is July 24th at 9 p.m. And you can even go in there and sign up for all those psychic hours early. Just make sure you put them on your calendar so you don't double book yourself. And we always send out a reminder the day of, so you'll be able to get that reminder too. I also wanted to remind folks, if you are like me, a cruiser, and you love to be out there on the open water, there's absolutely nothing like the psychic cruise that we do every year or year and a half. Our next psychic cruise is going to be on April 13th. And why am I mentioning it now? Cruises, what can I say? They're vacations. This one's 7 days long. It requires taking some time off from work. It requires, if you're going by yourself or you're bringing your friends or your family with you, it's going to require saving some money for this cruise. The thing is that the psychic cruise is unlike any cruise you've ever been on. We're going to a lot of fun islands throughout the Caribbean. We're going to be doing a land-based ritual in one of those places. We're going to get to have a psychic fair on the boat. We're going to have Sandy doing a messages session, and that's the only time I do a messages session. It's not something I do very frequently. So the thing is, you get to actually have dinner every night, not just with me, but with a whole bunch of psychics. When I say it's a psychic cruise, it's a psychic cruise. So if you want to experience something that's like nothing you've ever experienced in your life, sign up for it, okay? And because we're traveling on Royal Caribbean, it's a child-friendly line, it's a family-friendly line, so you can bring the whole family along. And then they have plenty to occupy themselves with while you have fun with the psychics. So if that interests you, just mark that date down and find out how to sign up for it. And in fact, I saw her name just before. Pat Frank is right here on the Psychic Hour with me this evening. And Pat Frank is not only one of our psychic development teachers for the Anastasi system, but she is also the land cruise director, or I guess you would call her the travel agent for this particular cruise. So she's the one to talk to. Okay, so much for the psychic cruise. I also wanted to let you know about my reading special. I still have a couple of more days, really, for the reading special for June. So if it's something you are interested in and you want to be able to get that reading special, you don't have any time to waste. You've got to let Lisa know. You can go to my website and sign up for it. My June reading special is, just to remind you, it's about being able to recognize the blockages that you may have about being able to be successful in your life and be able to draw money to you, to be able to be financially secure and successful. It's really amazing how many blockages that we create, and a lot of them can be tied into our early childhood. And using an astrology chart much like this, my guides and I can help you pinpoint what those blocks are and help you find out how to remove them, usually easily, and be able to change that whole paradigm around. So that's a very specific reading special, and you may find that it would be really helpful to you right now. And just to let you know, my reading special in July that's coming up just around the corner is really another pretty closely targeted one. We have a lot of transits going on right now that are important astrologically. This is what my guides tell me. We've got 2 eclipses happening in July, and we also still have Uranus making that forward transit into Taurus for we call that first ingress, its first step into Taurus. So with those 3 things going on, there's a lot of changes in the structure of people's lives. This is, by the way, a time to start keeping a diary. Keep your diary starting in the beginning of July, like July 1st, all the way up through the last day of August, because that's going to give you very good insight into choices you're going to make in your life that are going to direct where your future life goes. So you're going to get to see a little movie trailer of what's coming up in your next 6 months, in the next 2 months. And why is that important? Because it helps you to make decisions and choices during that 6-month time period that'll be healthier for you. And you can read all about that in my editorial, because I did go into quite a lot of depth with it so you can understand it. But it's important to have an idea how those transits are affecting you. So we put your chart up there, and we actually look at exactly where those transits are going to be affecting you and where you can look for activity in your life. And let me tell you, it's amazingly accurate. And that's as much as I'll say about it. But if you're ready for a reading, both of these readings are fabulous. One is very targeted to money and financial issues. The other one is more open-minded or open-directed, but very, very important to where your future is going and getting a really good handle on it, okay? So just to give you an idea on what's coming up. Also, right here on this chart, you'll see I'm still giving away my free report. If you go over to my Kajabi Tarot program, the link is right here on the sign, on the board, on the slide. And I will show you my short tarot card meetings that I use, and that's free. And of course, while you're on there, you can actually get an idea of what my tarot program is, because I've got a complete tarot program that walks you through how to learn to read the tarot right there. So that's something else you might want to take a look at. But the tarot card short guide is free, and that's just a little gift for you. Okay, Lisa, I'm ready to get started. If you've got a few hands that you want to call on, let's get our first victim. And folks, here are the rules. I would like your first name, the state or the country that you're calling from, your thing that you're most grateful for in your life right now, your sun sign, and then we'll go to your question.
Okay, our first victim for tonight is going to be Jacqueline. Jacqueline, you're unmuted.
Hello there, Jacqueline. I'm not hearing you. If either you're not talking or you muted yourself on your end. Let me see. Maybe I can help on my end. Let me just see where you're at. Okay. Jacqueline, it looks like you're unmuted. So Lisa's definitely got you set up, but I'm not hearing your voice. Have you got your mic turned on? It looks like it's turned on. Maybe your sound's not up. Lisa, I'm thinking she might have just stepped away for a moment. So why don't we call on our next person, and we'll try going back to Jacqueline in a few minutes.
Okay, I was just typing in to see if everybody's hearing you or not. And they said yes, so it would be grand. Okay, so the next person we're going to try is going to be Jennifer.
Hello, Jennifer.
There you go. Jennifer, you're unmuted.
Hi. I just want to say thank you guys so much for doing this. It's awesome. My name's Jennifer from California, and I'm a Leo. And I'm most grateful for health.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. And I'm going to find you right here on our horary chart. Jennifer, part of your sun sign falls in the house of relationship. And that's actually right now the most important part, even though it's the first 18 degrees. Because you see, the North Node and Venus are both in the house of relationship in Leo. And so, folks, if you are a Leo or one of the other fixed signs, an Aquarian, a Scorpio, or a Taurus, you're going to be finding that right now, since you're on this call with us, relationships are really, really important. And now part of this also, part of that Leo sign is in the 8th house, which is the house of money. So perhaps it's relationships and money and how finances are being handled that's important. That might also be part of what's happening. But I also want to draw your attention to something else going on. You see, there's an opposition here to that South Node and Mars, both in the 1st house. So even though relationships are so important, and since Venus is here, they should be good. They should be happy, nice, healthy relationships with lots of opportunity for growth and for working issues out in a positive way. But the thing is, because there's this opposition, I do know there are issues. Whenever we put Mars in any mix, it stirs it's like the garbage stirrer of the zodiac. Okay, so we know that right now, old. That's South knows old. We know that old issues and old problems are coming up, and they probably have to do with I like this, you like that. I want to spend on this, you want to spend on that. On the other hand, when it comes right down to it, man, there's nobody else that I really am attracted to or really love or want to be with more than you. Okay, so we have some,
Nice.
we have some conflict here, but as long as we have these good feelings, it's also resolvable conflict. I also want to point out a couple of other little things going on in this transit. This is a really interesting chart tonight because Jupiter, see this guy up here in Scorpio? That is a square to those planets that were opposing you. And it's also a direct square to you. And see this Uranus down here in the 4th house where my cursor is? Well, that's also a direct square to you and also a square to those planets in the 1st house that are opposing you. So you see, if you're a Leo, a Taurus, an Aquarian, or Scorpio right now, it gives the feeling of there just being too many fingers in the soup, okay? Either there are too many obligations, or there are too many, too much finances going out to different creditors, or there are too many people trying to give you understandings of what you're supposed to do, or maybe you're just trying to spread yourself in too many different directions. The thing is that you are having a little difficulty balancing that seesaw of relationships because either you or your partner could be coming through your partner as well, or it could be coming through the job, or it could be coming through the family, because that's the whole axis we're looking at. And guess what? It's a little bit hard to pull it all together and say, okay, this is what I need to be focusing on, and this is what I need to be doing. So what I'm going to suggest to begin with, even before you ask your question, is that one of the most important things for you right now is going to be to pull back and start to really organize your thoughts and your feelings. You follow? You've got to get life under control, okay? Your control, and you've got to prioritize it. And then all of a sudden things are going to go back to being a lot simpler and easier to handle, and certainly easier to deal with emotionally. So what's your specific question?
Wonderful. Thank you. My question is, if our souls choose the lessons that we have in this life, does it also choose our death or know how it happens? And do our guides know?
The answer is yes and no.
Okay.
And I know this is going to sound so... I have to tell you that this question, it's near and dear to my heart. It's very important to me. I've spent a lot of time thinking about it myself because of the work I do and because most of my family's on the other side themselves right now. The thing is that what I've found out in my own researches and experience is that all of those questions are a yes. There are some people who actually incarnate with a complete blow by blow by blow by blow by blow, totally predictable game plan. And they get, there it is, their whole life from beginning to start. And they know exactly how it's going to end if they go to a psychic or if they tune in. Some of them do, by the way. Some people who live their lives like that are so tuned in. They know what the next step is and they're ready for it. There are people like that. They're few. Okay? Most people come in with, I think of it as a set of landmarks. It's like it's as if you're doing a treasure hunt. You know what I'm talking about? When sometimes people will get in cars and they call them a treasure hunt. They'll drive to this store and there's a piece of the puzzle, and then they drive to this hill and there's a piece of the puzzle. Well, it's kind of like a treasure hunt that your higher consciousness or your soul has set up coming into life. And each one of those places where you're stopping to get that treasure, that's like a high point in life. But this is important. The lower part of you, the personality, in all of these cases, is the decision maker. And that higher part of you, which does come through and talk to all of us, but unfortunately most of us don't listen all the time, it doesn't get to make all the decisions that lower personality does. If you listen, it can certainly help because the voice is always there but most of us have this tendency to get super emotionally targeted, and then we don't listen. And then we're at one of those treasure points on the map, and we have this crucial decision to make. And, there's our higher self saying, oh, God, there she does it again. Because you do the exact opposite thing of what your higher self had planned for you. Happens every time. Okay?
Yeah.
So what happens is that for most of us, life really does become, because we go through so many of these little special points, they'll still be on our map. We'll still get to them eventually, but most of us end up taking the long way around to get to the next treasure point, you see? And it's because we tend to interfere with our own life path, which, we're human. We have a right to do that. Isn't it wonderful? Free choice. I love it. And relative to death, a lot of people think that, a lot of people, in fact, are afraid to go to a psychic because they don't want to be fatalistic. They don't want to know when they're going to die. And I've got to tell you that your higher self will always know when you're going to die. But it's not always according to plan, you see? There's that time, for example, and this is actually out of one of my past readings. There's this time, for example, where, this young girl who's perfectly in charge of everything and has this great life ahead of her and everything is going fine. And one of her friends is going through an emotional problem with a boyfriend, stops by her house and says, you just got to come out with me for a cup of coffee today. You just have to, because I can't handle this alone right now. So she gets in the car. They go to the street corner. The girl, gets hit by a car. That was her plan and her karma. The driver of the car got in that accident. But the one who got killed was the one who took the ride that wasn't planned. And that's a very good way of understanding that not all deaths are supposed to be. Okay? Now, from a different standpoint, from our personal point of view, oh my God, what a horrible waste. She died. From her higher self's point of view, bad decision. We've just got to recycle it and come back and do it again. We'll do it better next time. Okay? So, it's a lot of what I'm talking about really is from which point of view you're looking at it. From our point of view, there is this tendency to be fatalistic because we see ourselves as living one life. From your higher consciousness's point of view, life is eternal and you never die and the soul goes on. And you're as Esther Hicks says it, you're alive here and then you're alive there. It's a whole different way of looking at life, but from
Beautiful.
our perspective, we see that ending as finite, and it's not. It really isn't. Okay. And if there's one thing I could, try to communicate to people, it's just how, unfinite that death is. It's not. It absolutely is not. And as time goes on and more of us kind of wake up and recognize that veil's getting thinner and thinner, I think we're going to have far more interaction with the other side than we do today. I think the average person is going to have very casual, ordinary, everyday interactions that are just going to feel so comfortable and comforting. So, did that answer your question?
Beautifully. I love it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. That was a great question to start off with. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And Lisa, who's our next person?
All right, our next victim tonight is going to be Gary. If I can unmute him. Gary, it says you're self-muted. Can you unmute on your end?
There you go. All you have to do is just click your mic.
No, he's still self-muted.
Well, I guess we've got a few new people on who are learning to use the technology. So we can come back to him. Let's get somebody else. By the time we come back to him, he'll have figured out how to unmute.
All righty, we're going to go up to, she just moved. Angela Maria, I hope I'm saying that right. You're unmuted.
I'm on.
Hello,
Hi.
Angela. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm sorry, I did type in a question, but I guess now that you've let me just took note of me and when my hand. Now I'm all tongue-tied.
Angela, let me help you a little bit. Where are you calling from?
Brisbane, Australia.
I thought I recognized that lovely Australian accent. You guys have the best English accent in the world. I love it. And
It's not bad.
And what are you most grateful for in your life today?
Okay, that's right. You said I'm a Virgo, and today, right at this point in time, I'm most grateful for my children and my friends.
That's lovely. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. And you said you're a Virgo, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the first 25 degrees of your sign tonight are in the house of money, particularly other people's money. So you might be a little concerned with either how other people are handling that money, or you might actually be thinking about, maybe getting support from somebody else for money on a project that you're on. Also, most of the rest of the sign is in the 9th house, which is all about things like being on the internet, maybe creating an internet business, maybe making money in some way by using the internet, or travel, but making travel plans with your family. So the 9th house is kind of nice. And there's an opposition going on here to this planet here in the 2nd house. That's your earning potential, your income, your money.
Yeah.
And Neptune's there. So you're a little bit concerned about that right now. You're kind of like, some of the things that I tried haven't been working out. And some of the things I didn't expect have worked out. And now I just feel like I'm a little bit up in the air, and I've lost the, I don't want to say control. That's the wrong word. Being able to really keep track of exactly what's going to work the best for me to get me into the best financial position where I'm going to have the job that I'm happy, where I'm going to be able to do things with the family and be happy with that. And you're having this feeling right now that you've lost the track. You've lost that balance point that you had, and you're working hard to try to get it back. I would suggest, looking at this, that you're probably going to need to go back to school, or perhaps get additional training in something that you really love and want to move into, to be able to really have that inner feeling that says, yes, this is what I'm born to do. And this is where I can contribute to the world and take care of my family and do what I need to do for the people around me at the same time. Okay? All that's,
Wow.
And if you're a Virgo, a Pisces, a Gemini, or a Sag, you're having these kinds of feelings. Okay? All of those mutable signs are having the same feelings. Maybe not exactly the way I said it to you, but close to it. Okay? And guess what? The thing is that you're going to make all that happen. You're going to get on track. That's Neptune's job. It's helping you to get on track with this right now. So what's your specific question?
My specific question is interesting because it's related. I have so many interests for so many years. Don't feel like I'm working in a career anyway that is one that is fully satisfying. It's not perhaps my destined path, although I feel as though everything is stepping me towards that. Many people have said you should be a healer, etc. I feel like I've got some fear and blockages in connection to it, and yet that I keep getting drawn back into it. I'm wondering, how do I remove that fear?
Your fear, I can tell you exactly what the fear is. Your fear is that you take joy in service. What makes you feel the happiest of all is when you do some form of service for another person, whether it's healing, whether it's cooking, whether it's serving a great meal, whether it's taking care of your children or teaching. So you could be a teacher as well as a healer. You definitely do have a healing gift. You also have a psychic gift. Okay, I'm sure you're aware of that too. The thing is that when you get involved with somebody, you seem to always get an element of personal involvement. Notice I said the personal involvement, where now you feel that since you have stepped forward to help them, heal them, serve them, now they are your responsibility, and you have to keep them alive, and you have to fix them, and you have to right the wrong. And you see what I'm saying? You go too far.
Yeah.
Okay? And now, to make you feel a little bit better, I don't know that there's a true psychic, medium, channel, healer, anywhere on the planet who has not gone through the same thing. The very same energy that makes us want to reach out and help and work with people also makes us feel responsible for everyone that we've touched. And that's something that all psychics, all healers, all of us have to work on. Because frankly, you can't be responsible for the world. If you tried to be responsible for the world, it would kill you. Okay? So interestingly, your fear isn't that you would die helping somebody, although that sometimes happens.
No, that's not.
But that's not your fear.
Yeah.
Your fear is that you won't be able to help them.
Yes.
So,
it's horrible.
I'll tell you what I've told many people before you, and this is my guides coming through, is that you have to give yourself permission to be wrong in order to try. In order to try, you have to give yourself permission to fail in order to succeed. You've got to take the fear away. I can only do my best, and I will do my best every time. And the universe will bring me the right people that my best will be exactly what they need.
Okay.
Yeah? So there's an element of trust, self-trust, and trusting in God or the universe or whatever you want to call it. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much for that.
Good luck. And you've got to kick yourself in the rear end too, because there's a part of you that also procrastinates.
How'd you know?
Yeah. So if you're going to make yourself and everybody else happy, you're just going to have to get off that starting block and just do it. Okay?
Okay.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Lisa, who's next?
All right, we're going to go back down to Gary because he thinks he has his mic fixed.
Good.
I still can't.
How's
There you
that?
go.
I hear him.
Hello.
Hello there, Gary. How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm wonderful. First timer. I live in Florida. I'm a Pisces. And what else do you want to know about me? I've been to Star Child a few times.
Oh my goodness! So I may have actually met you.
I don't think so. You were never there. John read me once, but that was about as close as it
Yeah,
got.
you know where I would have been? I would have been locked in my back room doing readings.
I wasn't allowed back there.
Back then, I had a long waiting list, so they locked me up. So
well,
it was so
I
fun,
read the
wasn't it?
Star Child. It was a wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful experience every time we went.
Well, that's great. That's great.
Um,
There are plenty of New Age stores around now too. So if you like that experience of the psychic fairs and all the hype and all the fun, go and find one. Since you're in Florida, Lori Baracco, one of my students, she owns 2 centers. One is in Fort Myers, and I think one is it's just south of Fort Myers, and they're fabulous. So, and she's not the only one. There are great stores all over Florida, Georgia. Yeah.
Good ones in Sarasota, and we've been to Casadega.
Yeah. And it's all great fun. It's just really super.
Yeah.
So
It's been very, very helpful.
What are you most grateful for in your life right now?
I guess when I wake up in the morning and I see my sweet wife next to me, I thank God for His bounties, and that's it. I mean, there's really nothing else comes close to that in my life right now, is having that relationship. So.
Hey, and I applaud you. It's one thing to have what you want, what you've worked for. It's another thing to recognize it. Many people fail to take note of what's right there under their nose in front of them. So, a little applause, my guides are. Okay.
Well, I find that my gratitude grows yearly with this marriage. So, for me, it's become kind of a way of life, is to look, how can I be grateful for everything that happens? Not the least of which is that the sun comes up every day. But I think really with my wife is kind of number one on my list most of the time. Anyway, my question is more with jobs. I have a job.
Well, let me finish telling you something about this.
Yeah,
You're talking about job. The second house is about your income and your earning ability and your talents, et cetera, et cetera. There's Neptune. So there's that same sense of confusion about the job. Okay.
yeah.
But since it's in Pisces, it says, really, I'm going to do the best I can. But you must trust your own intuition right now. Same thing for all the immutable signs, the Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgos, and Pisces. Your own intuition is paramount. So go ahead and go to other psychics and have fun and enjoy it. But then always turn your attention inside and say, what does my own inner voice tell me? Because that is going to be your right direction to head. Now, Pisces is also activating the third house, which is the house of communication, foundation, education. Chiron is here in Aries. You are about to embark upon something, whether it's the job, whether it's a travel trip, whether it's an educational pursuit. You're about to embark upon something that is healing something in you, an open wound that was left many years ago. And you're about to so it's like taking a step forward, takes a step back to address something that was so very important that got left behind, that now fills in the blanks and helps you to get back on track with everything that you want in terms of being able to utilize your natural skills and abilities, and in a way that moves forward with your dreams and your goals and your aspirations. So what's your specific question?
Wow. I have a job crossroads coming up. One job, the job I'm in may be ending, and I could stay in the same profession or possibly jump ship to another profession, which I don't even know what it is yet, but I fully trust that it will come along when it does, although I have a great joy and passion for my current profession. It's just that I'm a contract worker, and this job will end near the end of the year. So I guess the question was, do you see me staying in the current joy and passion, or do you think something even more, I'm not sure, joyful and passionate will come along?
I'm going to go and tell you where the eclipses are hitting you, okay? Because you're going to have your answer within this next 2 months. These decisions will basically be very clear to you, because you're going to be keeping that diary. Because all the things that come up, the things people are talking about, are the things that you have inner urges, what your wife suggests. All of these things are going to come together, and your path is going to be with total clarity. You're going to see it. The first thing I want to say is that Uranus is moving into Taurus, and that's important because that's about money. That's about changing currencies. That's about changing borders and everything else all over the world. Taurus is very, very physical. It's geographical. It's tangible. And Uranus is going to change all of that. Okay? So your job, even if you stay in the profession that you're in, I guarantee you your job will change. Okay? So if you're ready for a change, good. It's going to be happening. And right now, of course, Uranus is activating your fourth house. That indicates a change in your home life, your family, maybe even where you're living. Very good possibility that you should be looking at options of maybe taking a job or moving in that contract work you do to a place that you and your family really, really have loved and wanted to be. Because this is going to give you a series of opportunities that move you forward like stepping stones. But it doesn't force you. It gives you opportunities. And each opportunity leads to the next, leads to the next, leads to the next. But I suspect you're going to be taking those opportunities. And the two eclipses that are happening in July, the first one is also in Cancer, okay? So that eclipse is happening right here on that Uranus, and I suspect that's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on both at home and at work that's going to making these shifts a no-brainer for you, okay? The second eclipse happens on July 27th, and it's at 5 degrees of Aquarius. So that's going to take us all the way over to the first house. It's on your south node. Whenever that south node gets activated, it changes your whole life direction. It changes where you're living. It changes how your relationship is going. And it changes what you're doing with your life for a living. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's big. This is big. Okay?
Got to keep that diary, that's for sure.
If you are also a Pisces, pay attention to what we just said, or a Pisces, Gemini, Sag, or Virgo, pay attention to what I said about the Neptune and the not seeing clearly but trusting your intuition, and pay attention to the healing that's coming your way, and that you have to speak up in order for those things that didn't work out in the past to start organizing themselves, lining themselves up, and working out now. And also pay attention if you are one of those, any sign that's here, all 12 of them, pay attention to what I just said about Uranus activating home and family and being touched by this first eclipse. This is very important. It's saying that we are really going to be looking, all of us who are on this call tonight, at our home and our family, at where we're living and how we want to be living and who we want to associate with in the home, and what is our obligation to which particular people. And if I feel obligated to the parents, does that mean that I can't ever move to take this job that I love someplace else? These are the kinds of things that are going to be on our plates this summer as we're thinking about what we want to do. And for all of us, there's going to be a step back into something we've done in the past, you included, Gary, in order to use it as a very clear flying jump-off point for what we want to accomplish in the future. Okay? Gary, thanks for asking that question, because it gave me the opportunity to bring that out for everybody who's here. Thank you.
Oh, you're great. Thank you.
You're welcome, and good luck to you. I expect great things. Okay, Lise, who's next?
Okay, Jacqueline thinks maybe she has her mic fixed, so we're going to try her again. Jacqueline, you're unmuted. You're unmuted.
Hello, Jacqueline. I'm still not hearing you, honey. Aw.
Yeah, because her mic's open, so it's just...
Yeah, you know, I'm hearing, I don't know if everybody else is, I'm hearing almost this low voice underlying, like a little static, but I'm not able to make out any words. So, Jacqueline, I think there may be something wrong with your mic. Okay, Lisa, we're going to have to move on.
We will go down to the next one, which is going to be, if I can find her, Rachel. Rachel, you are unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Oh, wonderful. I've never used this mic before. How are you?
I'm good. And how are you this evening?
I'm a little tongue-tied, just like our friend earlier, because I wasn't expecting to get called. But let's see, I wrote down my questions. So Rachel, obviously, is my name. I'm in Kentucky. I'm a Scorpio, but I'm on a cusp on October 24th. I don't know if that's useful for you tonight, but and I'm most grateful for, we just went to a wedding this weekend for a cousin, and she's never been married and in her 50s, and it was just lovely. So I was glad to be a witness.
I'm getting little chills. I think that's so wonderful. And I have a little message for you to give to your husband, to your cousin. I have an aunt by marriage, that a past marriage, but I still keep up with her. She's a great gal, great friend. She's now 95. And she was married for the first time at 70.
Uh-huh.
Now, you'll notice that's the first time. She outlived her first husband and was married a second time, and has also outlived him and is still going strong, and has had these wonderful, beautiful relationships behind her, and she is such an upbeat, happy person all the time. So tell your cousin about that, okay?
I will. Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, sometimes I think people marry later in life, and it just works out so much better for them because they have so much life experience behind them. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
That's awesome. And what is your specific question?
Okay. So I bought into a small commercial condo partnership about a year and a half ago. It has not gone well. So I've been working with her for about 6 months to develop a resolution, which is so far seems very, very far away. We're in very different places on this.
Yeah.
So if there's any insight on the resolution, how, when, and what do I need to do to heal me so I don't have to do this again?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to tell you is that, you know, just because this didn't work out doesn't mean that it wasn't a trial run and something in the future might work out. Do you see? So
Yeah.
please don't let this sour you. I mean, you're a Scorpio. You're supposed to be dealing with wheeling and dealing and learning about finance. And this is a good place for you to be, okay? It just was the wrong person for you to try to be it with. Okay?
Right.
And that was
Yeah.
the lesson there. And by the way, that part, remember you said you're really close to the cusp of Libra? That's
Yeah.
why. Because, you know, you do really great with stuff, but you don't do so great with people. Okay? And, you know, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to pick on you. It just means that you have to always kind of scout very carefully anybody that you would go into business dealings with. And frankly, it's always going to work best for you. For example, if you were to buy a business with somebody again, you always have 51% of the shares, period. You never take less. That's
Yeah.
your rule. That's your rule of life. If anybody else here is a Scorpio or a Taurus or an Aquarian or a Leo, that's your rule of life. Okay? The fixed signs are here to work with the finances and the money. And guess what? If you're going to make it happen the way you know it's supposed to happen, you need the controlling shares. Put that in the back of your mind for future reference. Why is this happening right now? Because you see, here's the moon tonight in Scorpio. That's you. There's Jupiter right in this 10th house. That's the house of career. That's you. There's Libra on the cusp. That's the partnership that didn't work out. And, you know, there was this commercial shopping plaza. Wow. And, you know, I know a little tiny bit, not a lot, not this much about real estate. My guys know a whole lot more. But, you know, you looked at this and you saw a tremendous opportunity. And you were right. She looked at this and she saw a free-for-all and can't handle anything and is in the middle of everything and manages to create turmoil. I don't know what her sign is. I don't want to know what her sign is. But I'm going to show you my cards because I know you do a little bit with the cards. The first card I picked for you is this card, which is an inverted 8 of Wands, and it says, put down this burden. Get rid of it. Got it?
Yeah.
The next one is a balancing 2 of pentagrams. This is money. The problem is that you're thinking, because you have so much of this Libra energy from the previous sign, you're not a Libra anymore. That was another lie. You're a Scorpio. Okay, please remember that. Scorpios don't arbitrate. You got it? Scorpios say, that's my way.
Okay.
See? Libras arbitrate. Libras are diplomats. Libras want everybody to be happy. Scorpio says, you don't like it, go home. Okay? And they're two signs that have a lot, they don't really get along well together. Okay? And it's very common to see them in the same chart, you know, a Scorpio with a Libra moon. You know, so a lot of times there are these issues that are sort of built in. So what's happened is this gal who you really want to stay friends with, you don't want to create turmoil, and you want this to go so nice, and you see so much, and she just, every time you bring it to a balance point, she messes it up again.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, and you're beginning to realize that. And the key is that it's not you, it's that she wasn't the right partner. And you also learned another lesson here, and please forgive me, but for you, your business associates should not be your friends. Okay?
Okay.
Because if she wasn't your friend, you wouldn't be having any difficulty at all handling this because you're sharp. You're having trouble handling it because you're trying to walk on tiptoes. So she is having a free-for-all. So the next card I turned up was the 5 of Cups that says, yes, if you walk away, you're going to lose the friendship. Now, is it more important for you to save the friendship and be poor and lose all of your money? Or is it more important for you to walk out of the situation and remain financially intact, but minus that friend?
Is this a rhetorical question or a real question?
It's a real question. You don't have to,
okay, thanks.
answer
Yeah,
it.
no. Actually, what I want is just, I wanted fair, I wanted equitable, I wanted reasonable, and none of those things seem to be happening. So I'm probably going to lose some money, and I'm okay with that. And I'm okay if I lose the friend. I could buy her out, she could buy me out, we could sell it all together. But I'm not really, I don't know. I keep looking for different sources to help.
The Libra part of you, you know, that Libra part of you says, she was a friend. This should be fair. This should be equitable. We should be able to work together. And the Scorpio part of you, honestly, deep down inside, knows that if you keep trying to be friends and hope that she's going to maybe get, maybe work with you just so that you can have a good feeling walking out of this, even if you give her money you didn't want to give her. But you see, the longer you wait to do what you know you're eventually going to have to do anyway, the longer you wait, the more money you're going to lose. In the beginning, you wouldn't have lost much at all when you first noticed this was going on. You would have been able to walk away and it would have been pretty much a break even. But because you waited so long, you are now at the point where you're going to have to give money away to be able to get out of this.
Yes.
And my guide's advice to you, and I know that I've got a lot of people who are fixed signs on the call tonight who may be in similar circumstances with some party in their life where you're trying to get things to be handled smoothly and the other person just isn't working for it. You need to put a third party in the middle, like your attorney. Get the attorney to handle it, and you step back and it gets done. And then she can't get your energy and she can't manipulate you. And you see, she doesn't, you need to see this. And I'm not saying you should try to see this from her point of view, but I see it from her point of view. So I'm going to share this with you. I don't want you to think about her, okay? I want you to think about you. But I'm going to share with you where she's coming from. It's in her best benefit to keep you involved. Because the longer she can keep you dancing from one foot to the other, the more deeply she can get into your pocket. And the more she can help you to foot the bill for all of the responsibility. And the more things are starting to go wrong that she is not on top of, that she is going to make you responsible for. You got it? She is not stupid. She is not stupid. Okay?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm sorry. That wasn't a pleasant one. But folks, I'm glad that you brought that up, because not all things in life are pleasant. And sometimes you have to give yourself permission to say, I gave that my best shot. It could have been great. I'm sorry it didn't work out, but I learned so much. So when I do this again, either on my own or with somebody else, I'm going to know going in exactly what legal parameters to set up and what boundaries to set up and how to handle this where there's a little bit more distance between me and that partner, where I can handle them as an associate. Okay? Good luck to you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck to you, and thanks for asking a very difficult question. Okay? And Lisa, who is our next person?
All right, our next person is going to be Judy. If I can get her unmuted. Judy, you're unmuted.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep. Hi, Judy.
Hi. Well, I am a Libra. I'm calling from the high desert in California.
Oh, I love it up there.
Yes, it's nice and roasty toasty. Yeah. And I'm most grateful for the great friends that I have in my life and have for 20 plus years. Great people.
That is wonderful. And well, let me just say that as Libra, here you are at the top of the house, the top of the chart, and that is the house of career. And Jupiter's in it. So your career, your star should be rising right now. There should be a lot of expansiveness around you. However, things are changing. And if you want to really do the things that you want, you're going to have to do a little bit of a juggling act, because where you're finding yourself, you see, is that you want to reach out and accomplish more. You want to move into either a new career or a new aspect of a career, but you don't want to let go of what you've already created, what you've already got. So once again, this is kind of a built-in difficulty, because every time you try to shift into something new, the old thing has to change. And that's where your Achilles heel is, because you don't want anything to really change. You just want more, but you want the old stuff to stay the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable with what my current career is, to the point to where it can excel me into something else if something happens to my current job. I have put a lot of work and time and effort into learning what I have learned, but I'm just not real thrilled with the current management decisions that are being made.
Yeah, and there's not a thing you can do about that.
Right.
You know, you're just
Yeah, I'm just learning.
yep, you got to roll with the punches, and whether you like it or not, the current situation is going to change. Whether you move to another job or you stay in the job you're in, the job is changing. And I guess the point my guides are trying to say is that you like things the way they are and you don't want the change. Okay? You would embrace more money. You would embrace more skills, more experience, more opportunities, but you want the core to stay the same. And what's happening, and it is probably because of the new management, is that the core is changing. So that's what's going to lead to the changes in your profession itself. Please remember one thing, that in the midst of that core, those core changes, that's where your best opportunities will be. So instead of looking at, oh, I don't really like the decisions and the choices the current administration is making, instead of approaching it from that point of view, try to approach it from the point of view that says, wow, they're changing a lot of things. Let me scrutinize this a little bit and see where my opportunities might be in the middle of all this change. Okay? Take a different point of view.
Yeah, I can do that, but also with the way the environment is going, I can end up with the same problems just with different names and faces on it.
Yeah, or not. It all depends on how you hear it. Did you catch what I'm saying? You have to really look at those opportunities and say, okay, where's the opportunity that's going to put me in a position where I have more control, or where I can engineer this to where I'm not working with those same types of people.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Take
well, my question, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. That was it. Go ahead. What's your question?
Okay. Yes, my question is, and this may sound familiar to you, but I need a little bit more info, is what is my brother really actually doing in his day-to-day, Monday through, 7 days a week? I have a feeling I know what he's doing. I think it's a whole lot of nothing, but I would like to see what you have to say.
Well, what my guides are telling me is that it looks like he's mostly living off somebody else's money. Okay?
100%.
I would assume that's either your family, or if he's dating somebody, or married, it would be her family. But I'm seeing family.
That's my mom. It's my mom.
Yeah.
My mom.
And he is saying he's got a career, and he does try to get careers. It's not that he doesn't try, but he doesn't have the ability, it seems, to do that. He wants to begin at the top. He knows more than everybody. At least he thinks he does.
You're right.
What ends up happening is he gets in there and he flourishes and he looks great initially, and then he makes a bunch of enemies very quickly and he's out of a job. So he's like the job flipper. Okay? Ever have a secure job? And, I hate to say this, but my guides are saying the likelihood is not. Because that's a personality problem that he has. And I know that you also, because I could read this, that you're also wondering, is he out there on street corners pushing drugs or doing drugs? My guides don't think he is. They think he just has this real big problem with not being able to hold a job because he doesn't relate to the people properly.
I think he's doing drugs, but it wouldn't surprise me if he's trying to make it look like he's homeless and begging for money. And so therefore my mom thinks he's maybe out actually working when he's trying to steal money, quote unquote, from others.
Well, is he stealing money from others? And I would say yes, but it's mostly the women he dates. Okay? And as far as, I just asked if he would benefit from seeing a psychologist, and tell your mom that he would. Because he does, the things that are stopping him from being able to produce and be an effective part of society are things that are a personality deficit. And he would really benefit greatly from working with a psychologist to get to the root of some of those problems. Okay? I think that he's just got a lot of personal problems. He's got that egocentricity is hiding a very, very poor ego. Okay?
Yeah, and I think somebody like that doesn't recognize that they need help, or that I don't even think he even wants to do better.
Exactly. It's everybody else's problem. It's not his.
Correct. Yes.
But he would benefit from help, and if he had the right psychologist, he would work with them. But he'd have to be approached in the right way. It would out to be, hey, you know what? You know how you could get a job? This person talking to you could tell you how to get in there and get a job and make it work. Different point of view. Not you have a problem, which is why you can't hold a job. This guy will help. You got to take a different approach. Okay.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, good luck to you, and I applaud you for caring and thinking about it. Yeah.
Well, I'm caring in the fact that someday when my mom goes, this is going to end up being a problem for my sister and myself as far as getting him out of her house.
Good.
That's a concern.
And I absolutely agree with you. It is going to be a problem. And
yeah.
The only thing that she can do at this point is to, set things up legally where he has certain obligations, and have her see a lawyer and ask about it. Because there would be ways that she could set it up where, if he becomes a burden that she can't afford, she can evict him. Okay? She needs to have that set up ahead of time so that he doesn't trap her. Okay? He's not stupid.
Yeah.
He's not stupid. And he definitely, and this is something you should be aware of too, he is somebody who's already planning that, he's going to be her inheritor and not you. Okay? And that's not because he doesn't love his sister. It's because he's just, in his mind, he will say, it's because I did so much for Mom, I was always here for her. You see, he'll have it justified in his mind. So anyway, all these things you already know. So it's like with the job, instead of saying, well, I'll just wait and see, be proactive. Take yourself and set yourself up in the right position before the event. Okay?
Okay.
And good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And I think we're at 10 o'clock. Time has flown by this evening. I just want to remind you folks, if you weren't able to get your question answered either in the chat room or by raising your hand by me this evening, you're welcome to drop me one question per person, please. Drop me a question in my email. You can find it right here on this side or through Lisa. And as long as it gets to me before 9 p.m., you have 24 hours tomorrow evening, I will get back to you probably somewhere in the next week or two. Okay? I wish you all much love. Don't forget about if you've got stuff going on and you want to get a more in-depth reading and really get into it, call me or call Lisa, set up an appointment. Okay? I'm still available. I still do those readings. Hey, folks, I love you all. I want to thank you so much for coming by this evening. Take that. And I'll see you on July 24th. Good night.